Good afternoon, and very good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Videography. Alright, so today I am Man in Black. Yep, Man in Black. Just kidding. Not that Man in Black, I mean. And even not that Man in Black either. You know what I'm talking about. Just kidding. Today's video is really interesting, and there was some interesting fact came into my mind, and I thought, okay, let me share with you in this video. Well, Nikon is playing around with one particular pixel pitch, and they made, but before I tell you further, that pixel pitch is 4.2, 4.3 micron meter. Well, essentially more like 4.2 micron meter, more or less, but more 4.2, 4.3 micron meter. That's the range they are playing. So essentially, the mean value turned out to be 4.25 micron meter. So it's like, let's say if we sum up this 4.3 micron meter, this is where Nikon is playing around, and Nikon released not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven, not eight, not nine, in fact, 10 cameras. Yeah, 10 cameras Nikon released around that 4.2, 4.3 micron meter pixel pitch. Now, how is that possible? Let me share with you. First of all, I have to explain you what exactly the pixel pitch is. Pixel pitch is basically the size of the pixel. Which could be starting from 8.4 micron meter, which is 12 megapixel. So like every pixel, if you have a full frame sensor with 12 megapixel like D700, D3S or D3 or A7, Sony A7S series, and now the new one ZV-E1, yeah, these are 12 megapixel. These, if you have full frame with 12 megapixels, so the pixel size is 8.4 micron meter. And you are increasing the number of pixels, so on the same full frame area, so it means that the size of the pixel is getting smaller and smaller because you are cramping in too many pixels in the same full frame space, right? So when you are increasing the number of pixels in the same unit area, let's say 36 by 24, which is full frame, your size of the pixel is getting smaller. So when you are reaching up to 45, 46 megapixel full frame sensor, here the size of the pixel is reduced from 8.4 to 4.3. So that's literally the case. So like 12 megapixel gives you 8.4 micron meter, which is the size of the pixel is so big, it captures more light. That's why they are good in low light performance. But when you are having the high number of pixels, the size of the pixel is smaller, 4.2, 4.3 micron meter. So it means that they are not able to gather light over the same unit of shutter speed and same unit of aperture value. So that's the disadvantage of having higher megapixel cameras, because they are not good in low light. That being said, now I just said it to you, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nikon released 10 cameras around that 4.2, 4.3 micron meter pixel pitch. Now 5 of those are full frame and 5 of those are crop sensor, but essentially they are all the same at the pixel level. Let me explain you. Now, this is getting interesting. Let me tell you. The history starts with the D500. Yeah, you will see D500 over here. That was released 20 megapixel, 20.9 megapixel. So it was around 4.2 micron meter, I believe, something like that. Yep. So D500 was the first announced, and after that we had D850. D850 was 45.6, 45.7 megapixels. So multiply or divide by 2.25, it gives you essentially the 20 megapixel. So 4.3 micrometer, 4.2 micrometer. So the pixel size of the D850 and the D500 is the same. So it means that you put the same lens on the both cameras, all right, and you put you shoot the same subject from the same distance using the same lens at the same aperture and shutter value, you will get the same level of magnification, same level of details. So that's the thing. I've done that testing multiple times, so you can try it. You will find the same. You will find the number of the details same level of magnification. Now after that, wow, after the D850 was the second camera that came with 45.7 megapixel Z7. Then we have Z7 II. All right. Then we have Z9. Then we have Z8. All of them are having the same number of megapixel at a unit area, 45.7. Of course, the Z9 and Z8 are having stack sensor, but the number of pixels are the same. So D850, Z7, Z7 II, Z9, and Z8. And now let's come to the crop sensor. Crop sensor, we have D500, then we have D7500, then we have Z50, then we have ZFC, and then we have Z30. All of them are having 20.9 megapixel. So see, all of them, all these 10 cameras are basically the same. If you put one lens, you take any of these cameras, any of these 10 cameras, and you put one single lens, of course with the on the Z bodies you use the FTZ adapter, but on the F mount bodies you don't have to use, you just use the same F mount lens and shoot the subject from the same distance. All of them will give you the same level of details when you zoom to 100% in your Lightroom or whatever the photo editing tool that you're going to use. All of them are the same. So what exactly they are different from? Now, surprisingly, all of them are basically targeting the different audience. That's the surprising part. D850, D500, Z7, Z7 II, Z9, Z8, D7500, Z50, then ZFC, and the Z30. They are essentially targeting all the different audience. Starting with D500. D500 was launched with T5. It's a pro body which is built for sports action wildlife. It shoots 10 frames per second without needing any battery grip. Alright, you don't need battery grip to boost the number of frames per second, which is essentially in D850. D850 without battery grip, it shoots 7 frames per second, but with the battery grip, it shoots 9 frames per second. But T500 shoot by default with or without battery grip 10 frames per second. So the T500 was built for sports action wildlife. It contains the same autofocus tracking algorithm like D5. So essentially the D500 is like mini D5. But it doesn't have the dedicated autofocus processor like D5 and D500. So that's the major difference. But D500 still holds its value. Is one of the best APS-C. Actually, it is the best APS-C crop sensor DSLR in the world for capturing sports action, wildlife, photojournalism. Even you can take portrait, even you take landscape out of it. But when it comes to taking portrait and landscape, that's where the D850 shines. Because D850 gives you so much latitude in post-processing, which D500 doesn't give you because of the SNR firmware. So what Nikon did, Nikon used the best SNR firmware inside the D850 to give you more flexibility in post-processing, which is not available in D500. Of course, it is, but not as good as D5 D850. That's the major difference. So that being said, now move to Z7. Z7 was the first camera in the Nikon Z lineup. Actually, Z667, Z7. But Z7 was lacking with one memory card, single processor, and everybody was complaining about the focus and everything. That's where the Z7 II came. Z7 II basically compensate all these factors, comes with two memory cards, come with two processors for load sharing, the autofocus processing, and the camera processing for the raw files handling. also gives you one-stop better ISO performance in compared to Z7. So if you're shooting with Z7 and Z7 II at the same distance, same subject, same light, you will get better low light capability and high ISO performance in Z7 II because it has two processor and better SLR firmware. After that, we have Z9. Z9, you all know about that. It builds for speed with high resolution. So Nikon Z9 is basically built for almost everything: sports, action, wildlife, product photography, photojournalism, portrait, landscape, wedding, events, everything. Where the Z7 mostly for portrait and landscape, Z7 II was basically targeting for not only landscape, portrait, but also product photography, still photography. Of course, with Z7 and Z7 II, you cannot capture the sports action wildlife stuff. That's where D850 is still able to capture a part of sports action wildlife with 9 frames per second, but Z7, Z7 II not able to capture that. So Z7, Z7 II mostly for landscape, portrait, stills, events, stuff like that. D850, almost everything. But Z9 is the top of the top of the cream. Z9 can do anything and everything. Then comes to Z8. Z8 is the mini Z9 without battery grip. So it's essentially 99, 98% of all the features which you are having in Z9 is in Z8. But the advantage of Z8 is for the video, because over the gimbal with lightweight body and with 30% light volume, you can easily capture video. So Z8 is more focusing, is just increasing the focus over the video part, which was not. People were kind of complaining about the Z9 heavyweight body because it was 1.3 kilo. So they were like, well, it's a heavy body, it's very difficult to do video. That's where Z8 came, and Z8 basically captured everything. So now these all 5 cameras covered. So Z8 also can do sports, action, wildlife, photojournalism, product photography, event, landscape, portrait, anything which Z9 can do. So Z8 can do anything. Now comes to the crop sensor. Crop sensor D500, I already told you. D500 was the king of the king when it comes to APS-C DSLR. APS-C DSLR, alright? So D500 is the best. Even you can shoot a still video like this one in D850 and you can still get away with a decent video with D500 4K. So now after that, we have D7500. Now D7500 was not my favorite body because it was containing one card slot and with no option for battery grip. So it was lightweight, good for travel, but it was not having the redundancy. Second card slot is very essential for me. But now I look back at the roadmap, and when I see from Z30 to ZFC and to Z50, so that's where the D7500 fits in. So D7500 is basically a lightweight camera body, very lightweight camera body, good for traveling, and gives you the same, nearly the same high FPS. It gives you 8 FPS, just like D500 gives you 10 FPS, but D7500 8 frames per second with a decent autofocus capability and with a decent video. So it's just like a little trimmed down version of D500, which you can see in D7500, but more targeting for traveling and prosumer or consumer based people, which is fine. It looks fine in many ways because most of the people, they don't use 2 card slot. When it comes to consumer, pro always use 2 card slot. Normal people, they don't use 2 card slot, they only happy with 1 card slot. That's where the D7500 fits in. It gives you a decent 8 frames per second, so you can shoot normal birds and animal if you like to. So that's where the D7500 fits in. After that, the very first mirrorless crop sensor camera was Z50. Z50 is basically carries the same sensor from the from the D500, same but its autofocus capability is much better than the Z6 and Z7. Z7 especially it was much more sticky. It's still good for vlogging. It was starting as a part of the vlog, but it with the flip screen down, not sideways. So it was kind of people raise their eyebrows why it's having flip screen down. Well, there are other camera company who basically use products which having the flip screen up. I don't want to name them, those companies. So Nikon use the same flip screen mechanism in the Z50, which works well. And basically, it drives another business case to come up with new accessories for Z50. So it was just like Apple do. Apple changed the design of iPhone, and everybody follows that, and they make the accessories for their new design. So that was exactly the same phenomenon applies for the Z50. So because of the flip screen now, we saw new accessories, which was good business case for other company to make the accessories for Z50. After that, the fashion iconic camera came, ZFC. ZFC carrying the flip screen side, fully articulated, and with the electronic viewfinder, which was also in Z50, and but it was more targeting for teenage who wants something iconic for their TikTok videos or who likes to go with, you know, Instagram reels to carry these fancy cameras who looks like old but it's comes with new technology. So ZFC basically kind of a retro style camera, looks like FM2 from the old days of Nikon, but it was all electronics inside, all mirrorless technology built in. So ZFC was part of a fashion iconic camera which you can carry around, take the photos, and be part of the culture. So ZFC was targeting that. Then the last camera came, Z30. Z30 is purely for vlogging. I used my Z30 all the time just for making videos. Of course, right now I'm making this video on a Z5 because I just thought, okay, let me. Well, actually, I'm lazy. My Z30 doesn't have the plate for the tripod, so and I'm not able to arrange so far the tripod plate, so that's why I'm making this video with C5. So that's the reason. So basically, all of my previous videos were on Z30. Z30, in my opinion, the best video camera at the budget with superior SNR firmware, which gives you the best image quality at the lowest price possible. So whatever the money that you are going to spend on Z30, you will get the best value out from Z30 for it. And I cannot say this thing for Z50 or ZFC, but for Z30, I can assure you it's the best value for money. You will get the superior image quality, superior video performance from Z30 at the lowest price point. Of course, it doesn't have the EVF, but it has a flip screen which you can use for making videos, fully articulated screen. ZFC is the only camera which has the EVF and fully articulated screen which you can use. But it's more kind of a fashion icon. Of course, you can make video out for it. And all of these cameras, Z30, ZFC, Z50, D7500 and D500, all of them are carrying 20.9 megapixel sensor, which is essentially gives you the same magnification, same level of details which D850, Z7, Z72, Z9 and Z8 gives. So you see all these 10 camera bodies, 5 full frame, 5 crop sensor, all of them, they are essentially the same, but they are all targeting for the different marketing sub-user market. All of them. D850, the best DSLR in the world, can do anything and everything almost. Z7, best portrait and landscape camera, product camera you can use. You can do a very decent event. Z7 too. Z7 with with steroids, better performance, better autofocus capability, better ISO performance than Z7. You can do event photography with more confidence, with more, with more versatility, autofocus and everything. Then we have Z9, the king of the kings, can do anything and everything. He can shoot up to 120 frames per second. So imagine you are having flying birds and hunting cheetah behind the gazelles. You can shoot 120 frames per second and capture the perfect moment, which no other camera can do on planet as I'm making this video. Then Z8 is the mini Z9. Then we have D850. D850, by the way, Z8 and Z9, they are the king. They can make 8K 60p videos. So they can do anything. From photos and video perspective, Z8 and Z9 can do anything for anybody. Alright, now we have Z850. Sorry, D500, not 50, D500. D500, best for sports, action, wildlife, best second backup camera body for you if you are shooting with D850 or D5 or D6. The D500 is the best backup camera body, best APS-C DSLR in the world as I'm making this video. It can shoot 4K video with a decent image quality like this. The way I'm making right now, you can do that with D500 and still get away with a decent 4K video. 10 frames per second, fully high, what can I say, fully pro body, weather sealing and stuff. XQD card slot, shoots 10 frames per second. Best dynamic range in the given pixel in the APS-C camera size, sensor size, I mean. Okay. Then we have D7500. D7500 targeting for prosumers and consumers. It's like D500, but you can just squeeze the 80%, 75% juice out from it and make a new camera. So it's not fully 100% D500, but it's like 75% of D500 in the form of D7500. 8 frames per second, single card slot, without battery grip, but good for traveling and making content. Good for traveling, making content, handheld, over the gimbal. You can do it with the 7500 at low budget. Then we have Z50, the first in the mirrorless technology, targeting for vlogging, and still can take good video, good images. Then we have ZFC. ZFC is basically more for fashion and iconic trend. If you want to make kind of a trendy video with good clothing and wardrobe, you just put the ZFC into the frame or try to take video out from it. It's going to be trendy. It's more kind of a fashion, iconic, trendy camera. More good for TikTok, good for reels and stuff. Where you can take this camera and make the content out from it. Then we have Z30. Z30 is the cheapest among all these cameras and can do everything except high frames per second. Can make good video, can take very good photos. Very good photos. I am so happy with Z30 when it comes to taking photos and videos. It's the best value for money camera that you can have in the Z lineup. So all these 10 cameras, which are essentially the same pixel pitch, gives you the same level of details, but all targeting for different market value at a different price point. You cannot compare any of these except Z7, Z7 II. You can compare these two, but not in a cross way you can do that. You just can't. So I thought to make this video and share with you that how Nikon make 10 cameras around one single pixel pitch and able to give you 10 different cameras to capture anything and everything at a different price point, which suits to your budget. And all of them can do different things. Isn't it interesting? It is interesting. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you guys in future with some new content. Till then, take care.